So if you watch my channel at all, then chances are you also watch several other music YouTubers who just do what I do but way better. And like I'm talking about people like Paul Davids, Ryan Bruce, Rhett Shull, just all these guys who focus all of their stuff around guitar and home studio production, like me. One thing that I love that these guys do, specifically Rhett Shull, he is a really good example of this, especially in his like What Is The Sound series that he does. He usually starts the video off with like a really cool demo song video to like kind of grab the audience's attention. And that's something that I don't really do on my channel a ton. I've done it a few times, but I don't really get to talk about gear super often because I don't have people sending me gear, and everyone knows I'm not the smartest musician, so I don't have all these cool music ideas to share with you guys. So my videos haven't really revolved around that a ton, but that is something that I definitely want to start doing more often. And so I guess really the best way to go about kicking off doing more of these types of inclusions on the channel is kind of just to make a video about it right off the bat. I want to make a video on how I'm going about making a song really quickly, the type of shots that I'm setting up with my camera, maybe lighting. I've kind of just looked at some stuff that Rhett does and some of these other guys have done, and there's some common themes that you see throughout and kind of some, I guess, best practices to say. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please do smash that like button. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me in the future. Let's go and get into the video. So let's say first things first, for one of these demo videos that you put at the beginning of your YouTube video, you're gonna need some music. And I can't say for certain how long like Ryan or Rhett or Paul take on making songs, but it would seem to me that if you're wanting to upload a YouTube video once or twice a week, then you need to kind of churn out these songs pretty quickly. The song you heard at the beginning of this video, I spent about 30 minutes writing and recording this. So there's a few ways that you can do your drums for these songs. It really just comes down to whatever you can do the quickest. Me, recently I've been using either Apple loops or loops from That Sound. These are loops from That Sound, and they have a free pack. I'll link that in the description so you can go ahead and check that out. So I just took the That Sound loop, threw it right into Logic, and that determined what my BPM was going to be for the song. And that's something that I want to talk about really quickly when it comes to making these songs quickly. It's good to give yourself boundaries when you're making these songs. Like I said, the loop itself is what determined my BPM, so I no longer had to think about that, and that was my drum sound. So I had to write something that sounded like they would go with that. And as you can tell with the song, that it ended up leaning towards like a poppier kind of 80s or 70s kind of vibe. I don't know. So the thing I did after that was I just picked a key and then I did some chords in that key. This happened to be in the key of D. And I just kind of found some different inversions of those chords, and that's what I used throughout the song. I knew that after I had the chords laid down that I would want some kind of layering. So I did some layers, and I just did like an octave of the layer and panned that on each side, and then halfway through the song to just change things up a little bit. I did some diamonds throughout the song. But yeah, if you just give yourself some boundaries when you're writing these, then you won't sit around all day trying to figure out what to write. I really just recorded things as they came to mind. There was really no vision for the song until I sat down to actually make the song, and that's why it came out so fast. I had the Logic session up right behind me, and it wouldn't hurt for me to just touch really quickly on how I process this. So I created a track stack for all the guitars except for the solo lead guitar. So all those, just had a high pass filter on all of those, and then maybe a low pass filter as well. Just kind of get rid of some of the mud and some of the really bright high end on those. For the lead guitar, did a high pass, and then I did a bump around like 2K-ish, so that would stick out. For the bass, I just dipped pretty heavily around like 130 hertz because that was clouding up with the guitars. I did a high pass on it to right about 30 hertz, I do believe. And then I did like a pretty huge bump right on like the fundamentals of the bass guitar. I did like, I think a solid like 10 dB on that. And then after I EQ'd that, I literally, this is a trick I used to do when I was producing metal music. I learned it from Joel Wanasak. I literally took Waves L1 limiter and crushed it as far down as it would go, and then I pulled it up, and it literally is just like, turns it into a literal brick. You have nothing but bass sustain the entire time. There's no dynamics whatsoever, don't get me wrong. So if you want dynamics in your song, then you don't need to do that. But this, for the way this felt, I kind of just wanted like a steady, like just bass hit immediately and stay steady the entire time. So it's completely like brick wall limited, and then I brought that up to taste. And then with the drums, I didn't really do any kind of processing on the drums themselves. However, I did send them to a drum room and to a decapitator bus with the 70s record preset. That is something I learned from my friend Andrew Masters. I did that, and then actually I think on the decapitator bus, I did a pretty significant bump on the lows. So like I said, it's a loop, so I did not have individual drum tracks to process, which was actually really convenient for me. I mean, it sounded really good out of the box. I just did a little bump where the kick drum would be, and then I did that bus processing that I was talking about earlier. And then I put Slate's FG Gray compressor on the drum bus itself and just did a crush preset on that, so it was kind of pumping a little bit. All that to kind of get some movement going on the song. And then finally on the master bus itself, I had another instance of FG Gray with a 3:1 ratio, an automatic release, and I think like a 0.3 on a pretty quick attack. And then I just kind of dialed that into taste, ended up kind of hovering around 3 to 5 decibels of gain reduction on that. I should also note that I had the high pass filter set on that to like 70 or 80 hertz, so that really heavy bass was not triggering the gain reduction too much. You may be able to quickly master your songs. You may have a go-to master chain you have. However, I do not have that. I just use Isotope's Ozone, use the mastering assistant, and then we're off to the races. And that's really all I did on this song. Super simple processing. Really the big thing is the drums sounded really good, and then I was using some pretty good Kemper profiles, and you know, everything just sounded good right out of the box. So this is a lighting setting that I had in the room while I was doing the playthrough. I talked about in my last video that I had just installed smart bulbs in the room. So both of my overhead lights, my bigger lamp and my smaller lamp, are all Sangled smart bulbs. And I can make them as bright or as dim as I want and as warm or as cool as I want. So if you don't have something like that in your home studio for this kind of stuff, I highly recommend getting smart bulbs. I'll put the link for Sangled smart bulbs in the description. They are about half the price of Philips Hue bulbs. I've never tried Philips Hue bulbs, but to my understanding, they work just as well. Really, whenever you're doing your camera and your lighting for your playthroughs, it really just depends on what kind of mood you want to portray for the playthrough. For some reason, I just wanted the room to be a little darker with some red tint, so I made the room a little darker with some red tint. I have this one light going to just light up the subject myself, and then I had that red lamp going to have a red hue in the room. Other than that, I just copied camera angles that I saw on Rhett Shull's videos. I literally went through his What's the Sound series and screenshotted his different camera angles on the playthroughs he has at the beginning of the videos and just try to replicate that. A lot of Rhett's playthroughs are a bit longer than mine. This one was only 28 seconds. I still managed to chop up the different shots to give some variety to the playthrough, but that may not be something you want to do too often. I may arguably have done that too often in mine. However, I wanted to get the point across that I have a shot of me playing bass, shots of me playing the different guitar parts, and shot of me playing like the main lead part. And then basically I just tried to make sure I had cool things in the background. Something to note for playthroughs that I may do in the future: if the playthrough is to highlight a certain piece of gear, then that piece of gear will make its way into the playthrough. That's something that you see on Rhett's channel. If he's talking about a particular amp or a particular guitar, then that's the guitar he's using in the playthrough, or that's the amp he's using in the playthrough, and that makes its way into the video pretty often. And really, when it comes right down to it, the choice is yours on all these things. The lighting, the camera angles, what you include in the video, whatever it may be, the way you want to manipulate all these different elements is totally up to you. That's my dog playing with his squeaky toy. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and you're obviously someone who enjoys watching this YouTube channel, and because of that, I trust your opinion and I appreciate you. So with that, please leave in the comments some content that you would like to see from me in the future. I will be completely transparent with you. One of the main hurdles for me as a content creator at the moment is sometimes just coming up with YouTube video ideas. There is oftentimes, more than not, a shortage of ideas that I'm excited about in this brain of mine. So any ideas you guys have, if there's anything related to guitar content or home studio production or anything like that that you guys would like to see, just leave that in the comments and I will do my best to look at that. And if it interests me, I'll make a video about it for sure. Thanks again for watching the video. I will see you guys in the next one.